is my belief the unlock for the majority of you is to get a little bit more comfortable with discomfort. Losing. And losing comes in a lot of forms, right? Going back to, again, why it's so easy to give a business talk in 2024 when you're me. Of course you have to have business acumen, you have to have something to sell. But do you understand that it has never been easier to create demand to sell something than it is today? That every entrepreneur 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years ago had it so much harder than all of you to create demand. You can post for free on a social network and sell shit. Who here is over 45? Raise your hand. Can you all tell these people how insane that is? We grew up where you had to spend money to get people to know shit. Ads cost money, and of course you can spend ads on social, but you can post on social for free. That's what really gets me crazy, when people are mad at the algorithms or the social networks. It's fucking free. Like, I'm shadow banned. No, you're not. You just suck. You're not shadow banned. You're not that serious, I promise you. You are not shadow banned. You just make content that nobody gives a fuck about. You know why? Because you make content that is selfish. You make content for you to get followers. You make content for you to get likes. You make content for you to sell something to someone. You make content that is selfish. That's it. Like, do you understand, literally, every time I post, I look at it and I'm like, why would somebody look at this? That's it. The frameworks of how to attack this game are simple. Executing is hard if you don't know what's happening within you. Right? Because I think, this is a really, again, I love this time of year. I need to start making sure Victoria, make sure I do a talk in the first 2 weeks of the year every year. This is like real to me. Like, this is such a good time because life's about, it's like sports. It's nice to have a football stadium right next door. Life's about momentum. It's momentum, right? And so the reason a lot of people are not doing what I'm talking about is the momentum's not in the right direction. They lost a step. They were better 3 years ago than today. Like, you get caught. But like, again, just like when, in holidays, you eat a little something, January, you want to cut down, like, you got to get the momentum. That first day in the gym's impossible. Even for me, I'm a workaholic. And when I go on vacation for 2 weeks, like I just did, the first day back, I'm like, I want to retire. Now, once I break the seal an hour in, I'm like, no, this is my fucking game. But literally like 2 hours earlier on the first Monday, I'm like, I'm not doing it. And then by 10 a.m., I'm like, this is my spot. It's like tough to, right? I'm sure for a lot of you, that's what the gym is, right? No, you get there and you get that euphoria, right? Or you eat like shit for like 3 months and you're fucking losing, and then you get that one good day and you switch. Like, it's momentum. You must figure out what's going on in your dome right here that is stopping you. I'm gonna say it again. Back to school. Remember school? I don't know if I see some kids in here. Do they still have Scantron sheets? Probably not, right? They do? Those used to be my favorite. I would just walk, I was such a bad student. I would literally walk into every high school test. If they were like Scantron, I'm like, yes. I would take it and be like, C, D, B, A, C, D, B. Give a fuck. Not because I'm cool, but because I was smart enough to pay attention that getting straight A's in school had no correlation to being happy and successful. It's an interesting time of year to give a talk when it's this early in the year, because everyone's, what are we in the 10th? By now you've already probably broken one or two of your core things that you promised you were gonna do this year. And I think about that a lot, actually, the whole New Year's resolution thing and how hard it is to sustain it. And really, if you follow my content or if you've stumbled on it, it's really interesting about the two places I think about. I use this term clouds and dirt a lot, and because a lot of it is just perspective and then execution. And most of the content I put out early in my career, and I still do, is very much around the execution. Like I can sit here for the next 45 minutes and tell you why I know most of you are not producing enough content on Facebook right now, because Facebook's organic reach and paid ads, given how so many content creators are overly focused just on Instagram and TikTok, has become a huge opportunity, like it was almost 7 years ago, to drive your business. And I love talking about that shit. And I know that some of the people in this room right now literally just took note of that and are gonna go home and explore with it. And Facebook's gonna be a more important platform for you than Instagram is right now, because too many people are stuck on Instagram. Not that Instagram's not important, it's just so competitive. That's why all your organic reach is down, right? So I can talk about all that. And I can talk about a lot of other tactics, like for the people that actually have time. I posted this morning, like the thing I'm most sad about right now is that I just don't have time, and I'm not that guy who I was in my 20s and 30s, but anyone who's got the luxury of time and has ambition, and I don't think you're at this conference and paid to be here and spent your time to be here if you're not hungry or trying to make something happen. If I'm someone in this audience right now and I have 3, 4, 5 hours a day, and I don't mean you have it because most people don't have it, I mean, when you really audit your time, you realize you're wasting 3, 4, 5 hours a day on dumb shit that you don't need to be doing, which is all of us. That's all I think about. How do I get another 15 minutes, another 15 minutes? But if I had 3 or 4 hours a day, I would be streaming live on TikTok and Twitch constantly for my business, whatever you're doing here. And like, but again, it's a hard game. The biggest issue for entrepreneurs, executives, parents, the world, is that most things that are remarkable are hard. And then occasionally you'll find someone who blasted off real quick, and you decide to point to the 0.000000001% person that hit it, instead of realizing the 99.9% of people that hit it after doing something properly and hard for a decade. I know that if people paid attention to what I just said right now and go back and get very serious about going live on TikTok and Twitch for 4 hours a day, that it's gonna take them 6 months to get any level of any kind of traction. And I'm talking 5 days a week, which is 20 hours a week. And I know for most people, after 4 to 5 days, let alone weeks, they'll give up. Because that's all I've watched for the last 25 years. When I talked about you should get an e-commerce site, or you should do email, or you should do Google AdWords, or you should do Facebook, or you should do YouTube, and on and on and on, it's just, you know, as I reflect, you know, I love this time of year because you get a little downtime during the holidays, you think about different shit because you're out of your patterns. And when I think, you know, obviously I knew I had this talk early on, I'm like, how do I mix it up? What do I want to talk about? I want to talk about the fact that most of you are just going to give up too soon. And it's because you just want it easier than it actually is. And it's really not about the tactics, it's about your perspective. So much of what is fucking everybody up is they're worried about everybody else. In 2 ways. Somebody else's success is not taking out of yours. There's so much unlimited everything. Money, fame, opportunity, so much that getting fixated on someone else's success is hurting so many people. As if that's actually taking out of yours. Do you know how many people, when I put out certain things, say, well, someone else is doing that already? I'm like, someone else is doing everything already. There's fucking 17 trillion versions of me. Like always, like I laugh at like people being stuck in like 40 years ago mentality. I just flew from London, so 12 hours. I got to sleep a little bit, but I also got to do a ton of work. Somebody wrote me an email, was like, before I tell you my big idea, you gotta sign an NDA. I'm like, motherfucker. It's not 1986 up in this bitch no more. Delete, fuck you. And it was funny because I took note of, like, I hadn't heard somebody say you need to sign an NDA in so long. But when I look around and what I'm trying to think through as I sit with all of you, I'm like, what are they thinking about that is over, that isn't real? This is why I'm so fascinated by perspective. You know, life is what you decide to look at. Like, you know, I wish you could see my social media feeds. Like, it's like kittens getting saved off a tree. Like literally the post that caught my attention the most today in my feed was a post about 2 kids driving in Massachusetts the other day. It was like a news article about it or like a clip. They were driving, it was snowing, and they made the dad pull over because the guy who was shoveling the sidewalk was in a wheelchair, and you saw that? And they jumped out and helped him, right? It is nice. And I get to see nice shit in my feed because I decide to focus on positivity. Everyone's like, the algorithm, social media. No, it's you. You do understand these algorithms are empty. They just want to keep you on. I can tell you everything about yourself by opening your phone and looking at your algorithms. They're not trying to make you sad, you're sad.